This will be on a set of subjects that are something I have to keep going over, and that wearing me down thing seems to be the tactic of the year. I post videos explaining to people they've been lied to. Finding out you've been lied to and fooled, and specifically someone did that to you because you were an easy mark, is not something a person wants to hear. And if someone's done a good job being a guru or cult leader and priming them, they have been primed or hardened against having themselves be convinced that they've been lied to many years after it would do anybody any good, including the person who lied to them. The reason being, it's part of the tactic. A person who's going to lie to you about an investment or some other, questionable shit is going to tell you all sorts of stuff so that you'll spend the longest period of time not complaining about them, not getting them arrested, and not asking for your money back. And they do that by being very obvious that they're doing it in some cases. The ability of a bad guy behaving overtly like a bad guy, but still being able to rope people in, is very valuable because it runs off people who wouldn't be gullible. It attracts people who are gullible if you do it right. Military strongmen kind of thing going on. I want to point out this is similar to a fighting technique used in martial arts where you deliberately make it to where you look like you have a failing, a bad leg or whatever, or you deliberately land on your back or against something so that you're pinned on purpose. If you use the entire earth as your basis, a punch is much stronger. If you use a mountain range, it's not as strong. If you use a tree, it's nowhere near as strong. Those are all fallacies. Any solid object you're leaning against or laying against will allow you to punch so much harder than you might believe. Not faster, but harder, because there's no give, especially if you do it exactly at the right amount of extension. Now, why am I bringing that up? I've made myself look like I'm vulnerable. I'm inviting the attack, and right as the person falls towards me, adding momentum, I just stick my hand out as fast as possible, hopefully meeting just before my arm locks. I now have an attacker that is literally disabled and may not be able to think for 4 hours. But I adopted a weak position, inviting that reaction. Or I can act like an idiot, make people think I'm an idiot, and not pay attention to me and bilk everybody else who thinks I'm brilliant. Baffle them with bullshit. Correct your commentary. Look up Flat Earther David Weiss. I don't care what David Weiss has to say. I looked up the Flat Earther part and stuck that in there. People who adopt Flat Earther principles and proselytization are attracting other Flat Earthers. Yes, it's a package deal. If you're a Flat Earther, not all the time, but most of the time, you're very gullible and you'll believe a whole host of things that don't make sense, have no evidence for them, and are complete bombast. Next. Round Earthers are just as gullible. I believe in a round Earth. Why do you believe in a round Earth? Why don't you find out whether it is or is not round? More accurately, find out that it's not completely round. It's egg-shaped, and it's not the same set of dimensions depending on its north, south, east, or west. And do you know how hard it is to prove the Earth is round or flat? Flat Earthers and round Earthers are both normally very lazy people who are subservient to authority figures. Very few people have actually gone through. It's actually a pain in the ass to prove the Earth is round or flat, or figure out its size, or do any of this stuff. Because you're relying on whether the day's cloudy or not, or whether or not the angle of a magnetic field is correct, or whether gravity works correctly on a mountain range. It doesn't. Yes, it will deviate it just enough to fuck up your results. Don't even get me started on whether or not you're over an iron area versus silicon. The point is, it's the little details that drive you crazy. But, yes, the Earth is round. But people who don't go through the effort of finding out that they're wrong about the Earth being flat, sometimes it's this, I'm going to present myself as a flat earther thing, so it runs off anybody rational, so they only get people who want to believe that kind of crap in the first place. And yes, it is a package deal sometimes, not always, but most of the time. But also, they run off people who don't know how to prove the Earth is round, too, because they get frustrated. It's not a losing proposition to claim to be a moron when it's one thing. A person presenting himself as a flat earther will then bring up what they're really doing to bilk you. And it's not that you're gullible, it's that you're primed to ignore things that disprove what you believe in one other area. If you scream at the top of your lungs that you're a traditionalist, conservative, Christian, gun lover, and you get elected and outlaw a particular bump stock, yeah, you got caught fooling them, and they still believe in you. Because your true believers are going to be the ones who never change their opinion. How are you supposed to run a cult if people change their minds? Or expand them? The person also says, look up Romley Stewart, and misspells Stewart's name, and the Justinian Deception. This is a deception, quote unquote. It's a conspiracy theory named for Byzantine Emperor Justine, something, who is emperor apparently from the year 527 AD to 565 AD, or just alive during that time. And it references DOG Latin, hidden foreign texts, them damn foreigners, and secret knowledge and obscure stuff. Basically, if you claim, I'm the only one who can save you, I have all this hidden, super special knowledge that's very hard to find, it's very rare, or it's just uncooked, and that's it, and you're supposed to believe me, and you don't provide an easily understood, concise explanation as to what the hell the Justinian Deception really is, they're not going to read it. I'm not going to read it. It's a fucking book I have to buy from Amazon. But I can look it up from other people who say they read it. Okay, but then I get told, well, that's not the book. You have to read the book. Unless you give me money, I'm not going to let you disprove me. So let's go into some other assertions from, it's more than one person, but let's go on. Person is a word that's French for personage. Now, that seems like something easily said. You wouldn't even bother putting in the effort, and it's wrong. And it's wrong. And it's gone. Mort-gage, or mort-gage is the original spelling and meaning of it. Translates to death pledge. In the literal sense, yeah, I guess so. Or it's pledge death, or the death of the pledge, or a time-limited pledge, or a time-limited loan, which is what mortgage means, which is what it actually spelled out, which is the reason the words were used. And then Jesus/Jupiter, because we got to throw that in. Okay, let's go on. Misspelling Romley Stewart while lecturing on etymology. Pledge dies either when the pledge is paid, or when the payment fails, or when the time's up. That was the original version of it. It was a time-limited pledge. You had to pay it off before this time. Otherwise, you lose whatever the collateral is. But it just became a pledge that dies when it's paid, or you fail to pay by a certain point. Mort-gage. You could also have chronos, or temporal. Those are words for time limit. But someone decided to just say a pledge that dies somehow. Next, person is derived from Old French persone or persone. That's me badly doing French. On purpose, because I hate French. The physical being, the living body, external appearance, persone or persone. See also persona, which it is not derived from. Persona derives from persone. Persona, a mask or false face. And it's not the 1510's legal usage of corporate body or corporation. Person doesn't mean corporation, nor does it mean a false person, mask, or fallacious human. Fallacy human. It means literally person. No, it's not from personage. Personage or persona is from a person on stage wearing a mask, or your reputation, or your outward appearance that is not necessarily you, which was used as the reasoning for making corporate bodies or corporations personas. You've got the root and history of this wrong. Again, some people are told these things and they don't look them up because the person who told them that was someone who would deliberately go out of the way to make sure people wouldn't listen to them, a non-credible source who would make all these proposals of these words and origins. Let's bring up the Latin word corpus, literally meaning entire body. Yes, I know that some of the pages will say body only, literally, but the meaning was entire body. So when you see Corpus Juris for the body or entire body of the legal work or the law of a legal system, the juris, that would mean the entire body of law, not law or language of the dead. Corpus literally means entire body, not corpus means dead. Corpus can also mean the entire body as a corpse, but it's derived from entire body of. Literally that meaning, not dead body. Again, not just misinterpreting words, but outright ignoring their definitions, then and now, and the history of words. He who ignores history is doomed to repeat it. He who lies about it wants you to ignore it and repeat it. Misspelling your sources' names. Maybe misspelling them so that I couldn't find out what the Justinian Deception is. Maybe finding out that the individual proposing it made sure it was this long, fluffy series of statements in a book, not putting it into something that could be concisely explained, shorthand. No, we have to have just a shit ton of stuff in it. So it takes hours to go through to where we can find out that we were lied to. This was all posted under a video about somebody who put up hours and hours of videos of him droning on using a PowerPoint presentation to drive away anybody who wants to know what's going on here so he could massage the minds of the people watching and never get to a point. Sound familiar? So here we go. Personne or person is not French for personage. Personage has a basis in persona, which doesn't mean the same thing as person. Persona means your reputation or the false presentation you give, and also was used for the basis for one of the bases of something that eventually became corporation or business name. Mortgage is not death pledge. It's a pledge that can die over time. It's a non-immortal debt. Some of you have immortal debts. You don't know about that. Yes, after you're dead, the money you leave behind can still be grabbed. There used to be a law that says when the person dies, so does their debts. Then someone changed that. Jesus is not Jupiter. Oh, I have to fucking say this. Anyway. Yes, there's a basis for claiming the god Jupiter was represented by Jesus, but at that point, we're a little bit off the track here. Correct your commentary, WAPTech. Look up a flat earther. I had to find out it was a flat earther. After that, everything doesn't matter. Somebody wants to present a discussion on why this comb here has a specific set of characteristics, but they want you to listen to them go on and on and on about how dogs talk to them in their sleep. They're not wanting to be taken seriously, but they want to drive away anybody who's ever going to question that the real nature of this comb is that it's a living thing with really, really tiny tentacles. I said tentacles, not testicles. Okay, here we go. Is this person, it's two people, posting shit that proves that they're idiots? No. Are they gullible? In a very strict definition, yes, but not really. That's a bad word to use. Were they lied to? Yes. Are they correcting that? No. Are they coming to me to correct it? I don't believe so. Is the sources being used deliberately using tactics to make sure that nobody will ever be able to get through what they're saying or want to? Yes, because they want to attract people who are willing to invest all that effort unnecessarily for something they could put down as, I believe words have different meanings. I'm going to ignore the definition, the dictionary, encyclopedia, history books, everything, and tell you to believe me, and that's it. That's what it busts down to. That's no different than any other guru on the internet. You could say I'm doing the same thing, except I provide links and a rationale. But yeah, the idea of mortgage comes with the word mort in front of it is bad. But it just means something's terminated. Look up temporal error, time. See if you can make something fun out of that. Anyway, it's kind of ironic it was under a video of somebody doing the same tactics. If you're one of the people who posted this and you're not willing to acknowledge that maybe, just maybe, you've been fooled, nobody can help you. And I don't have to help you at all. And I don't even have to care. But I do care. I care that you're misleading yourself into something that will become a tool for someone else. And in some cases, for people who don't even want to use you anymore. I think that's kind of sad. Somebody used you, and they don't want to use you anymore. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.